Hello. In this video we're going to explain how we can change our location and our aircraft. We can fly every airfield on the planet in one of over 50 aircraft. It's quite simple to do, and if you follow the instructions you'll be able to do it yourself. We press the Alt key, which brings up our menu bar. From the menu bar we're going to go to World, and we're going to come down to go to Airport, and in the city I'm going to put Istanbul, Turkey. And you'll see it lists all the airports in Istanbul. I'm going to pick the first airport, which is the International Airport, and I'm going to just highlight that and click OK. And that's now going to take us in our 172 Cessna to the active runway in Istanbul, Turkey. Once this is loaded, the computer knows what time it is at your home location, and therefore it knows what time it is any other part of the planet. If we find that we have gone somewhere where it is now nighttime, we can tell the computer to make the scenery daytime for us, because we'd like to see more clearly the landmarks around the location that we are flying to. In this case, in Istanbul, we can go to the map and see the Bosphorus Straits. We can see the partition between Asia and Europe, as Istanbul exists on both continents. That's why it's kind of an interesting place to go. The scenery is being loaded, and I encourage you and your students to explore the geography, topography, landmarks, prevailing winds and temperature ranges of any location you're going to. So here it's telling us that it's nighttime in Istanbul and we'd like it to be daytime. So we're going to go back up to World, and we're going to click Time and Season, and we're going to come down here to the time of day where it says night, and I'm going to ask it to make it day. And I click OK, and now we will regenerate all of the scenery in a daytime setting. Once this is fully loaded, we're then going to look at changing our aircraft. In the inventory we have over 50 planes for you to select from, and they go from as large a plane as a 747-800 to as small a plane as an ultralight single-seater. So now we're in Istanbul, and the way we know that we're in Istanbul is we go up to World, Map, and now the map is going to show us our location, our latitude and longitude. This airfield is 167 feet above mean sea level, and we're at a heading of 356 basically north, and we have no airspeed. So we can see exactly where we are. We can display with these various icons on the top navigation aids in other airports, but I'm satisfied with our setting now, and so I'm going to click Cancel. And I am back on the active runway in Istanbul, and there's our 172. And what I'm going to do now is we're going to change airplanes to go into a small business jet. So we go up to Vehicle, select Vehicle, and you'll see that there's a large list of airplanes in here. I'm going to scroll up the list, and I'm going to select the Boeing 737, and I'm going to select OK. Always remember to make sure your throttle is in the idle position. And so now, here we are in Istanbul at World Travel Airways, and we are preparing to take off. We happen to be on runway 36, which is telling us that our heading is 360 degrees, so we're basically facing due north. This plane has what's called a glass cockpit, and in some of the planes you can click on the display and it will bring up a second display. This is our primary flight display. There's a tape on the left, and that's going to show us our airspeed. There's a tape on the right that's going to show us our altitude. And you'll see that it's currently at about 170, almost 180 feet. This is giving us our heading of basically north. And these are our angle of attack, up and down, nose up and down. And in this case, the gradation is 2.5 degrees. So it's 2.5, 5, 7.5, 10 degrees. And that's nose up angle of attack. I can always bring up also various navigation instruments, and I can bring up my engine controls. I'm going to close these for the moment just by tapping on them. At any time you can bring up your GPS just by clicking the GPS, and we can bring up our radio stack at any time. So here we are on the active runway. We're in Istanbul, Turkey. We're in a 737. And I'm going to give the aircraft full power. And this plane should track down the center line because we don't have a spinning propeller. We've got 2 jet engines spinning. And I'm going to wait until we get to approximately 150 knots before we rotate. Now this plane has retractable landing gear. And so once we are off the ground, we're going to retract the landing gear by using this horizontal switch on the yoke. So we're approaching 140, and you'll notice that the red in the tape disappears and now it goes to yellow. And that's where we've got enough airspeed and induced lift to come off the ground. And so I'm going to come to the outside here. I'm going to rotate. I'm going to click and bring my landing gear up. You'll see the landing gear has retracted. And now we are flying out of Istanbul, Turkey. And we have a nose-up angle of attack here of 10 degrees, which is lovely. And I'm going to roll to the right. I'm going to go to the outside view so we can get a look at the Bosphorus Straits. And we're in very good shape. Now, at any time, you can change an aircraft while you are flying. And the way we would do that is quite simple. We're just going to repeat vehicle, select, and in this case I'm going to scroll down and put us in an F-22 Raptor, which is a US fighter jet. F-22 94th Squadron, we'll take that paint job, and we'll click OK. And now we're going to be flying in the exact same position, except we're now flying an F-22 Raptor with the physics model correct for that plane. I'm going to come back into the cockpit. This plane flies with what's called a heads-up display. And so the heads-up display is going to give us our data set of angle of attack, airspeed, etc. right here. And as we roll out, you'll see we're approaching the Bosphorus Straits, and we're going to fly right over that into Asia. So I'm going to pause for the moment. We've gone over here how to change airplanes, how to change locations, and how to validate in the map where we are. I hope that this has been informative for you and your students. And as always, please feel free to contact us at 203-527-5747. Thank you.